Welcome to the first episode of Procurement Kakunda. Today's agenda, we're going to learn what is procurement and what is procurement process, what's the difference between indirect, direct and services procurement, and we shall go over a very high level procurement process flow. Since this is a first class, I don't really want to get deeper into the issues and concerns of procurement. We will slowly, gradually get in there. All right, let's get started. What is procurement? Right? Procurement is the art of obtaining goods and services using certain techniques which saves time and money, however, without compromising on the quality of a product and services that you've procured. Very simple. What is procurement process? Right? Let me explain it in a very layman language. Anything right from your business request for something, a requisition, until you place an order, do you receive a good, do you make a payment, all the life cycle journey of this particular step that's involved is called a procurement process. It's basically contains of 3 P's, that's process, people and paper. Process is nothing but a list of rules that your organization would have set up that you got to follow, right from placing the order to receiving or to paying for your goods and services. That's nothing but a process. People, there are stakeholders within the organization who would be responsible for authorizing the transactions at every stage, depending on the nature of transaction it is. Those are your people. Paper is also known as documentation. Basically, it refers to any paperwork, contract, terms and conditions, or any other documentation that's involved in the stage of procurement, all of which are collected and stored for your reference and for your auditing purposes. That's something called as a paper. Are we good here? Alright, let's move on. Let's understand the difference between the indirect, direct and services procurement. Direct procurement, it is basically a production procurement or manufacturing plant who try to procure a goods and services for a manufacturing purposes. Indirect procurement and services procurement are mostly for your internal use or for your client services, right? And these items are usually perishables in nature or something that does not involve any kind of a manufacturing, right? It's just a consumptions. Direct procurement also establishes a long-term collaborative supplier relationship, right? Because of course it's a manufacturing plant, you just cannot take a risk with doing a business with one-time supplier just because your client wants something. You need to maintain that quality, that standard when you deal with a direct procurement. Whereas indirect procurement and services procurement is something that your relationship with the supplier could be a transactional, a short-term or a one-off transactions with them as well, because you just need something at the moment, and then there's only some suppliers who are really available to supply that kind of a services. All right, so that's the difference between indirect, direct and services procurement. I'm going to leave this slide. You can kind of mute the video, read through everything, and then probably comment more if you want to understand more about this. Let's quickly move into a very high level procurement process flow. Your business, your client places a requirement saying that, hey, I want, for an example, let's take an example as 100 laptops, right? You place an order to your procurement organization. Your procurement organization is going to look into your current supply base and see, is there any supplier who can actually fulfill that particular requirement? If they find one, then they'll go ahead and proceed with placing the order, provided of course all the terms and conditions, all your contracting, sourcing, all those terms and conditions, procurement policies, conditions are met. Basis that, they're going to go ahead and place the order. If they identify that there's nobody in the existing supply base who can meet this demand, then they got to go out in the market, right? So they got to identify or discover a new supplier who is capable of providing this kind of a goods and services. Then there's a whole lot of process that's involved, basically onboarding a supplier, then getting into contractual obligations with them, and if there's any kind of a sourcing event that you are running into in order to identify the best supplier for meeting that your demand, then you got to go through a sourcing events and their statement of works, etc. Once you've done with all that, then you go ahead and place the order. Once you place the order, your client is going to receive the goods and services, and then you're going to receive the invoice from a supplier. Once you pay out the invoice, basically a life cycle of your procurement process for that particular transaction ends. Are we clear? So in the coming videos, we're going to learn much detail about each and every steps, each and every sub steps that are involved in that particular processes. We're going to learn about a little bit of more about the procurement policies, what is the best practices followed in the industries and etc. So do comment on what do you think about this video. If you like the video, then please like, share and subscribe to our channel and spread the word. Thank you so much